like a minute. You guys can talk. Start talking if you want to.
All right.
Are you gonna just straight up go live, or are you gonna have like a starting soon or something? Or...
No, I'm not gonna have a starting soon.
All right, cool.
Not this time, at least.
All right.
Smarty, are you mainly scripting or?
I would say I'm mainly game design and mainly like funding, planning, project management.
Cool.
I would say that if I were to pick a skill, it would probably, if like in studio, it'd probably be scripting. But my favorite is the higher level stuff because, well, that's how you manage games. You have the highest leverage. You're managing it all above, and you don't have to be directly in studio. You can manage a lot more projects, get them out as you like,
Right.
and have a lot more control.
Now,
What
do you have scripting or modeling experience? Don't worry, I'm not trying to hire you or anything.
yeah, I do. I have both.
All right. Use Blender?
Yep.
Yes.
What skill do you have?
Modeling.
Cool.
Modeling or building. Not
Hmm.
100% sure what the difference between building and modeling. I guess modeling is more Blender and building is more studio based.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I've been doing. Oh, also I do GFX art. I've been doing that for like 2.5 years. Do
Cool.
Blender, and then I do a lot of modeling and a lot of building, mainly low poly.
Cool. Yeah, I really used to be like big into building. So yeah, building's probably the most fun skill. Honestly,
It
a lot of
is.
people will say building's not that fun, but I don't really get that because you're making like entire worlds, and I think that's probably just one of the coolest things ever.
Well, it's like Legos or Minecraft. It's like I
Yeah,
feel
that's true.
guilty when I play Legos or Minecraft because I feel like I could be using my creativity towards development or something. But
Yeah, I'm the same way.
I'm not anymore, but I used to be huge into Legos and Minecraft, like back when I was like 9 or 10.
Mhm.
But then I found Blender. I was like, this is a lot more fun. Why would I?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I was the same way, and I hopped into Blender, and I was like, okay, or Studio, then Blender, and I was like, okay, now I can make money off of my creativity.
Mhm.
So it's nice, yeah. Cool.
Of course, I went through the toolbox phase.
Yeah. Spamming free models. I make that like a huge intro in a lot of my videos. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Spamming free models. Yeah.
I am back, boys.
Cool.
All right, so I was listening to part of that while you guys were talking. Does either of you? Does
I
either
am
of
going.
you? Sorry, continue.
I said I'm going to start recording now.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Where is your channel? What's it called?
Mine or way too randoms?
Yeah, yours. Cause are you live streaming?
No, I'm not. I'm just going to
okay.
record it, and I will do some editing. I do actually have quite a bit of editing under my belt now. I've never done actual videos or anything. Here, let me send it. Only 20 subscribers, but I did get a video that blew up 2,000 views or 2.1.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said 2.4 earlier. I think I said 2.4 earlier, but that was wrong. But that's a lot for me.
Yeah, that is good. That's a good start. I remember the first time I had a short blew up. That was amazing. So, yeah.
It was like I had made the same video 3 times. They were both, all
Really?
3 shorts or edits.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, you guys want to get started with this podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I do apologize, boys, for the fan sounds in the background. My setup is just like a laptop setup, so it's like really loud.
I don't hear anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't?
I don't hear it either. It's
okay.
fine.
Interesting. Hopefully the stream doesn't pick it up.
All right. Well, I got a question.
Yeah.
How did you start? How did starting your YouTube channel go? And if it did, how did it change? This is a question for both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
In what way? Sorry.
That's a good question.
Like, how did starting your YouTube channel go? Like, what'd you start with, and
Oh, okay.
like once you got like consistent with it, how did it? And if it did, how did it change? Like, if you got
Okay.
consistent with it, how did it change? And
Okay.
watching your
Makes
guys'
sense.
videos, I think you guys got pretty consistent.
For sure. You can start, Smarty.
All right, cool. So, are you were asking about videos, right?
Right.
Okay. And how did I start, basically?
Mhm.
So, I suppose that when I started making videos, I had basically been sitting there and I had made this account, this random Roblox account called Canaxix. And I was sitting there, you know what? That actually is kind of a cool name. I think I'm going to start a channel off of this.
It does sound
It's so
good.
random. Yeah, it was so random. So I just started a channel off of this name called Canaxix. Put the banner up, threw this like classic Roblox character in there. He's waving from on top of this brick wall thing, and it says sub to Canaxix or something. And that was basically how I started. And then I uploaded this video with this crappy mic that was just is like robotic. It sounded G when I would talk. And I just uploaded this video with my cousin playing New Haven County, and that was basically how I started. It was just the most random start. And I had done a YouTube channel before. It was just like everyone. It was just random, gaming clips, random things like iMovie videos and GarageBand songs from my iPad.
Yeah.
The normal 10-year-old, 12-year-old stuff that you put on YouTube. And that was my experience. And I'd also done like, for years I'd been just creative. And I know that you were talking about this too, your daily news. You do like Legos and Minecraft and stuff.
Mhm.
Is kind of like that for me, except I was also into like making videos with family. So I'd make like a lot of random family videos and things like that. I'd edit them, and then I would turn that into I'd turn that into just cool little edits, and that led me to be very fond of making videos, and that allowed me to learn editing in Premiere Pro, and
Yeah.
I started to improve with time. I started making more videos, branching out, and they started out really random on Smarty RBX. But over time, I just improved, and I realized eventually, like, wait, I just want to do dev content. And they started out and my channel really took a turn from random content to dev content, and it got when I did that, when I made it focused, it got very, very successful with time and effort.
That's good. It's interesting.
Definitely have a very big channel, and I love the editing.
Thank you.
Very nice. I suppose it's my turn now, but
Yep.
basically, around I want to say it was the Christmas of 2021 when I got my laptop. I also got Forza Horizon 5 with it. I loved car games, and I loved really just anything with the big engine sound, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah, I was car geek. Now I don't know much about cars, but which is kind of ironic. I decided maybe about 3 months after playing it. It was probably February, and I kind of thought, well, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. I have Forza, and people seem to be getting a lot of views with Forza Horizon clips. And I thought, well, I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to use OBS. So I decided that editing was irrelevant, oddly enough. And I decided that I didn't need to learn OBS. I just had to use the NVIDIA clipper thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I used that. So every video was like 30 seconds or under. And then I would just have these random clips of not Southwest Florida, I'm so used to saying that, of Forza, and it would be like stupid moments in a race or jumping off a cliff or just something random. And I did that for, I don't even know, maybe most of the year. And then I kind of decided to kind of move off to another passion, which was Southwest Florida, which had began that maybe midway through 2020, whenever, like right after it was created. And from then, I just started getting better and better because I realized that I wasn't getting anywhere. I was getting maybe 12 views per video at the max. It was not very good. My thumbnails were crappy, and I didn't ever take time to learn. I kind of just thought, pretty arrogant, I kind of thought that, I could just do it all on my own. There's nothing anybody could teach me about learning thumbnails, and then I got that out of my
Mm.
head. And that's kind of where it picked up because I started learning from a lot of people. I'd watch videos and videos every single day. And then I started getting better. And then I fell into this thing where I only do it when I felt like it. And if I actually want progress, you gotta stay consistent. So to answer your question, Bebop, or your daily news, you definitely have to be persistent. If you're not,
Yeah.
you won't get anywhere. So when I started getting that way, I'm still not perfect, but when I started that way, I definitely saw a lot of growth.
I did too. That's part of the reason why I started mine. To answer my own question, basically, I started development in 2020. I started opened up Roblox Studio, saw Hero Tycoon or something. It was like in the toolbox. That's like the first thing I saw, so I clicked it, and I somehow published the game because probably just YouTube searched up on YouTube and how to do it, and I had way too random join me, um, and he said that this is amazing. We should start a development group. Funny fact: way too random was also a developer with me for amount of time until he switched to Southwest Florida, and then I took a little break. But then I started development. I just started. Like, it kind of went into solo development. I started playing around. Eventually, a year later, I got into Blender. Learned that. And the last 2.5 years, I've just been playing around with Blender, starting on random, being hired, starting projects. Usually, the manager ends up not being able to pay, or they can't. They just can't lead, and the development falls apart. Like, so I haven't really gotten any big projects out. But then way too random suggested that I should start a development YouTube channel like a year and a half ago. I said no because that's just not what really wanted at the time, but that had been in the back of my head. And then recently I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take them up on that and start it. So that was like a couple months ago that I started. So
I remember,
Awesome.
remember you telling me that. I was kind of like pretty surprised there, but definitely cool. Cannot wait to see where it goes. Hopefully,
Yeah, that was a good idea.
yeah,
That's a
for
good
sure.
idea. Way too random. So you're
Way too
starting with
random, dude.
speed builds.
I did. I like watching speed builds. My first one was not the best. Now I actually really liked what I did in the video, but the editing wasn't that good, and music wasn't the best. But it was okay for nothing and
Yep.
no experience. So
Yeah, everyone starts somewhere, and from the thumbnail on the two latest ones, they look really impressive. So
thank you.
yeah.
Way too
Way
random.
too
Do you have
random.
anything to ask? Sorry, what'd you say, Smarty?
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, way too random. It sounded like he was gonna say something.
Might have been noises from coming outside my room. I have brothers. Sorry about that. I do have 4 conversation starters, or just random subjects if we would like to talk about those. Unless you guys have something to say.
Oh, you can go ahead. Unless
yeah,
Smarty
go
has something to say.
No,
Okay.
I'm ready for anything.
From a developer's point of view, how would you guys say that this Roblox car drama is gonna affect the deving world, if you want to call it that, if you know much about it?
I think it's gonna affect the car part of the driving simulator part of Roblox, because it is a big thing, like driving simulator or Southwest Florida, a Greenville.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna affect
Yeah.
the big games such as like Pet Simulator, because I don't know why it would.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I found it interesting, the car drama, because you guys were just telling me about this before the podcast. And I think that I find it interesting because I think that it's not really just so much about this one car thing. I think it's about a larger issue of copyright on the platform. There have been other
Precisely.
things that came up, like I believe Preston was going around striking random games for what he saw as copyright issues, and I think there's a lot of, and also the UGC has copyright issues as well that a lot of
I
people
remember that.
notice, shoot those down right away, and a lot of people shoot those down right away in the community, and yeah, so I think there's a long line of copyright issues on Roblox,
Yeah.
and I think that this is just one thing within those, and the community as a whole should be, focused on how do we actually prevent this as a whole, not just in car games, but as a whole, make original creations, as a whole, make you know things that don't infringe on copyright, make unique things, but also inspire. Inspiration's good, but like figure out where to draw the line as a whole.
Yeah,
For
I
sure.
agree.
Definitely difficult for the car community, but I mean that's kind of just how it is, honestly. Unless you have
For sure.
like, because you could be as creative if you want to with the maps, but when it comes to cars, like there's always gonna be people that don't really want like made up cars, right? So it's
Yeah.
definitely a difficult situation.
It is. I think that RoBuilder is also in a bit of a situation like that because he was on. He's in a Discord I made called Dev Create, and we were talking about his game, and he was talking about how he also has to make like all the motorcycles in his game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
The Dream
he has
Game?
to make up the brands. Yeah, Dream Game. He has to make up all the brands and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting.
Thing is that like Southwest Florida, Greenville, like these big car games, they do that too, but they're still getting copyrighted just because. I get that. I mean, they're one-to-one models, which makes sense, but I don't know if RoBuilder, if he's doing one-to-one models or
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I think he's varying in.
yeah.
You know, one thing I think is crazy. Lamborghini was the first car to be taken off in the early 2022.
I remember that.
Yes, devastating time, obviously, for a lot of people. But I think the craziest thing is that Ferrari, of all companies, is still not taken out. I don't know if you guys know much about Ferrari in like real life, but basically, for instance, there's this one guy that decided that he didn't really want the red paint job, the stock default, whatever you want to call it, that came with most Ferraris, and he was gonna put a neon cat wrap on it. But
Mhm.
Ferrari did not like that, so they came up to him and
Oh.
said, "Give us back the Ferrari, or take the wrap off." And basically,
Wow.
they also sued him alongside. So, for Ferrari to still be in here, I don't know. Maybe there's somebody smart running it.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, me and Your Daily News think kind of the same way. But for a lot of people, or a lot of companies, I think it would be a smart decision to have kids going over your cars and everything, to look at it. Because what are kids more likely to buy your car if they play with it when they're a kid on games and such? Make them more interested. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
I think that's.
I think they're kind of missing out there.
Hmm.
I mean, I think that they have the right to take it off, but they
Of
also
course,
are
of
missing
course.
out on something. Missing out on a big thing.
Yeah. But to see Ferrari not taking anything off yet, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is interesting. You would, based on that, you would think that they would be more concerned about it. Did you say that they were telling somebody who owned a Ferrari to not put a cat wrap on it? That doesn't really make
Yes.
sense. In
Yes.
real life, it's
They-
his car. He bought it, right?
Exactly. That's
The thing
that's
is,
exactly what
I
they
think
did.
I think you also have to like contact them for permission before you sell Ferrari too.
I
Oh,
think
really?
Yep, I think so.
That's crazy. It's not even your car, practically.
Yeah, pretty much.
It really isn't. It's kind of like a run. It's kind of like a rental car. You own it though. It's like a rental
Yeah.
car that you own. Sorry about that.
What we call a scam. I didn't know that
Right.
about Ferrari. Interesting. I
Kinda
guess I
just-
won't ever get a Ferrari.
It kind of goes to show that you don't really own anything in this world. No
No.
matter how much money you spend on it, you don't own it. If the government's mad at you and you own a house, they could take it right away from you. I have
I got a
another question. You go ahead.
Um, What is the difference between a 4-year developer and a 6-year developer, as such as experience? I think there's quite a few differences when it comes to experience.
This is
That's a good
interesting.
question.
I think.
I-
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I do have an opinion on this. If you want me to go first.
Go.
So I did hear this one guy, this business YouTuber, talk about this. His name is Myron Golden, and he was talking about how a lot of the times when people are talking about experience and things like that, when people are talking about experience in a job or experience in a skill, what matters is the quality of that experience and how repetitive it is. So if you're sitting there
Very
and you're
true.
driving a forklift every single day for 6 years, are you really improving each time you drive that, or are you just doing the same thing every single day?
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, are you in those 6 years of development, are you trying new things and are you experimenting, or are you just making a low poly rock every single day? You could say you had 6 years of experience, but so what really matters is like, what are you doing in that time? What are you accomplishing in that time? What skills are
hmm
you building in that time? How are you actually improving? And is it, I can't exactly remember how he phrased it. Um, it was like, he had a really good way to put it in it, but it was basically like, do you have 6 years of repeating the same thing every day, or do you have different days, different things that you're doing each day? He had a much better way of putting it, but it's really interesting.
Yeah. That's valid.
I like that point. I like that point.
So I wouldn't say that there is like a difference necessarily in time. I think both 4 years and 6 years can be very good developers, but it matters what they did in that time and the depth of that experience.
Right. And also, it depends what your traits are. I mean, modeling, I guess you could get a lot better. I mean, yeah, you're going to get a lot better. So, same thing with scripting. But if you're like, let's say, I don't know, can't think of what's a development job that doesn't really get better. I guess advertisement. I mean, really anything you can get better at it, but
Mm-hmm.
there's some that um, evolve over time more than others. I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I guess building might change a lot.
Yeah.
I have a question on a pretty similar topic. What this is a question for you two. I don't have any room to chime in here because I'm not a developer. But what do you think would be the biggest obstacle in becoming like a developer of your guys' stature?
Probably getting past the toolbox.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that oftentimes it's the start. I would say that a lot of people, I mean, actually everyone, they really don't know what to do when they start. Like they're like, okay, maybe I'll try building, maybe I'll try UI, maybe I'll try scripting, maybe I'll try GFX today. But the thing is, people don't know what to do. There's no really a clear path. You have to choose your own path in development. And I really found that when I started and when I started progressing, when I was like, okay, I want to get up there in the ranks of developers, I want to make popular games and things like that. There was no clear path at the time. And I think that was the issue. There was no direction. I didn't know what
Yeah.
to do. What do you focus on to actually go up the staircase as a developer to the front page or wherever you want to go? And that's really why I started my channel. I started my channel and started making the videos I'm making to fill a gap I saw where there's no direction, there's no motivation, there's no, what do I do after I learn scripting? What do I do with my skills? What do I do in the community to get myself out there? And I think there was really a gap there. So I think my videos might be filling a very big gap that was there before. I think there's still work to do on it, but I definitely think it's that finding that path and finding that direction for sure. What do
Yeah.
you guys think?
That's very valid. That's
I-
very valid.
I totally agree.
I agree with that quite a bit.
I obviously haven't done too much development, but when I did, do the little bit that I did for that 1 year, I definitely see how that would be probably the hardest thing. Of course, I haven't made it through any of the other obstacles, but I see how that could definitely be the hardest. Because I got in, I'm thinking, well, should I learn to be a scripter? I'm thinking, nah, bro, that's gonna take forever.
Yeah.
I'm like, should I build? I'm creative, but really, should I? And then
Yeah.
I couldn't really pick. Like what you said, it's very hard to decide. There's no really clear path, as you said,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but it's very difficult.
True.
I
Yeah.
think it's
So
either what you said, Smarty, or like not or, but on top of that, I think it's also trying to get into the development community because
yeah.
you're not. It doesn't matter about your experience if you're like haven't been in any community and have only been going soloing with no projects that have been
Yeah.
published or anything. You're not gonna have a great time trying to get accepted immediately into like a game or something like
That
to develop for a game. I think you have to have a little um, respect by people. You got to be respected. You have to be well known. You don't have to be necessarily well known, but you have to have um, like I don't know what to call it.
some influence.
Influence
Mhm.
and some proof of like experience, such as like
Yeah.
projects that you've worked on. Um,
Definitely.
but it's my saying it.
That is a good point. I think that is part of the path. So like you'll start on this path. Okay, what skill do I choose? Okay, I've learned the skill. What do I do next? Okay, I've applied the skill. How do I get myself out there? How do I go up in the development community? I think for such a
Hmm.
long time there was a void there. Like what the heck do I do? My
Yeah.
content has helped quite a bit with that, but it also there's still that problem for most developers. Like what do I do? How do I get myself out there? And it is a difficult question to answer because you can look at the top developers and you can see that they all are, kind of they have some sort of thing that makes everything click. They have that status already, and it can be really
Hmm.
hard to start out. And the top developers, they don't want to work with a really new developer, even if they're good a lot of the time. If you don't have that network and that connection with people who are higher up in the community, it can be really hard to rank up. And so it's really about, I guess, after you have built that skill, it's about slowly networking and making
Exactly.
connections with other developers. And when you do that, you don't have to pay people to make a project if you have friends. You can team up with friends and make a project for 100% free. And I think a lot of people neglect that path of slowly networking, making friends, because there's so many different connections that you can't even see right now that you can get in the future.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's a great point.
Your
That's a great.
network is your net worth. Very, very true.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people neglect that on Roblox, and especially like the newer devs, I think, because they haven't had that. They haven't. I think a lot of the time, Roblox development is the first real skill a lot of people learn. They're like 14 or 12 or whatever age, and they don't understand networking and things like that. I definitely didn't when I started, and it's the first time. So I think that's also a large part of it.
Hmm.
Exactly.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah. So have you guys had any experience networking or doing anything like that?
I
Because
do.
you guys
A
have
little.
networked.
I've done a little bit of networking. This is not. I'm not going to call this networking right now, but it's getting. I don't know. I mean, I'm getting featured on Way Too Random's new video. He interviewed me,
Cool.
so I think since he has about like I think 500 returning viewers, I think that's what he said to me,
It's a bit,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's quite a bit
so
from my
I think
side.
that's what you mean. But when it comes to networking like that, I think I have. I'm trying different things. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, talking to.
Cool.
I think I've talked to RoBuilder a couple times.
Oh,
Talked to
that's awesome.
Bro. I've talked to you right now.
Mhm.
Um, I think I've talked to. Do you know Frappe? I think that's what it's called. The cafe game.
I might know it.
Um, talked to their developers. They gave me advice back when I was trying, quote unquote, trying to make a cafe
Mhm.
back in 2023. But
Cool.
that's I haven't done too much networking, but
I
I
have
think
my
that's what.
I have my own input, and
Cool.
then we have looks like 2 questions from the stream chat. Um,
Awesome.
for me, basically, obviously, I don't develop games, so I don't talk to developers. I mean, it might help me at some point, like you guys, but
Hmm.
for me, it's just talking to other YouTubers, getting connections with them because they have a lot more experience to me, like Mr. Gamer or Joji. I've talked to them in the past, got some help with it from them, but of course they're busy people. But that's kind of how I go about it. I join lots of different Discord servers in hopes to find somebody to help me along this journey, or if I can help them in any way. But let's see. King Arthur asked, "How exactly should I go about networking?"
Mm. That's a great question. I can answer that one. I would say that the best way to go about networking is to just join a community, join a place. So first you would join a community, join a place where you can talk to other developers. That could be X. You could join the Roblox Twitter community or the X community, whatever it's called now with the app name change. Start talking to people on there, start following people. That's a great start. Or you can join a Discord server like mine, Smarty Devs, or you can join a Discord server like Hidden Devs, or you can join the Roblox Dev Forum. There's a lot of options. The one that you choose doesn't really matter. Just pick whatever one you like or multiple. And then from there, you can start to give value. So, giving value is about giving people help, giving people inspiration, being a positive person, and just providing help to them without any expectation of anything in return. And when you start to give more value to people in these networks, you're going to find that you get a lot more connections and a lot more opportunities coming back to you because you've given that to others. And a lot of people neglect this. They go around asking people, "Can you please work on my game? Can you please join my project? Can you please give me Robux or something like that?" And the thing is, that's the wrong way to go about it. They're trying to get something when first you have to give something.
I totally agree
Right.
with this point. This does translate to my situation and a few
Mm.
areas, but
That's a
second
great point.
question. Yeah, very good. Monarch person asks, "When did you start developing?" For both of you.
Smarty, do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Sure, I can go. I started developing in around 2017, and then I kind of took it was on and off, and then I kind of got more serious, especially around 2020. Started ramping up my skills, started taking it seriously, trying to earn Robux, trying to make money, and yeah, so probably around that's probably around 6, 7 years total since around 2017.
Okay. What do you think? What was your main driving force for starting? I think you explained this earlier, but just to answer.
Yeah, so at first it was definitely a drive for creativity. I've always been a creative person. I was
Highly
always
agree.
I was always into like I think a lot of Roblox developers start this way. So I was into gaming, I was into Minecraft, I was into Legos, I was into all kinds of things like that. I know that way too I think not way too random, but
Your
your
daily
daily
news.
news you were talking about that. And yeah, so it's really it's a similar path that a lot of people take when they start development, and I started that way. So yeah, it's drive for creativity, and I just found Studio. I found out, hey, Roblox games are made by developers. Let's try and join the ranks of developers.
Become the developer. Yeah.
Become a developer. Yeah.
It's cool. Started in 2020, not 2020, 2017. Um, but 2017 was quite a long ago, so you have a lot more experience than me, clearly, which I look up to.
Mm.
But 2020 was when I started. Early 2020, I started with free models. Again, like uh, Smarty said, I was into Legos. I was into Minecraft. I was into all the creative things. I was just super creative,
Mm-hmm.
and I got super bored with those things because that's like all I did for 8 years straight. Um, but I was like, I got into Roblox and I started figuring out that that these games are not made by Roblox but developers. And I was like, I want to give this a try. It's probably not that hard. So I open up Roblox, open up Roblox Studio. I see free models, and I made a game out of it. It was either a Hero Tycoon, like literally it was a tycoon free model, or it was a military base made of free models with free model aircraft and hangars and stuff. But made a game, couple make games out of those. I just kept, for whatever reason, I didn't even care about actually making a game. I just kept making really stupid fun little games, like Escape Thomas the Train. I literally took Thomas the Train free model and I attached a kill part. So the Thomas the Train actually follows you. So whenever it hits you, you die. And I spawned about 700 of those. And then I made a ladder. And if you got to the ladder, you were safe. But if you didn't get to the ladder, they would kill you. But I just made games like that, stupid little games, like really stupid games. And then my first, like, quote unquote big, it was not big whatsoever. It was made of free models. It was FF City, or it was supposed to be Free For All City, but for whatever reason, 10-year-old me forgot to put in an A. So I put Free For All City. I meant to call it Free For All City. Basically, I put tents all around and gun spawners all around, and it was supposed to basically be free for all mayhem in the Roblox City template. But that's when I really wanted to start. And I slowly started making my own stuff. I started building and modeling in Roblox Studio. And then about almost 2 years ago, I started Blender. That's also when I started GFX art. But just slowly kept more, and I'm like, within the last year and a half, I was like, you know what, I really want to devote my Roblox development, or my time to Roblox development. So that's how I started.
Awesome.
Interesting.
That took a long time. My bad.
No, it's cool. That is, that's an interesting story. I think it's interesting because it really sounds similar to mine in a lot of ways. I think a lot of Roblox developers start in a very similar way.
Right.
And it is kind of inspiring to see everybody just starts that way. They're like, oh, Roblox, I'm creative. Let's see, I'm playing this game. Oh, games are made by developers. Okay. Throw in a million free models into Roblox Studio. I'm a developer now. and then you improve from there. So yeah, it's interesting.
Definitely. And I, in a sense, I've started, if I would have continued, I definitely started in the exact same place. Because, I did Minecraft, Legos, all that, like you guys. And then when I started playing Roblox, I got on here, I'm like, well, what are Roblox games? Who are making them? For a while, I thought it was just Roblox themselves, like the company came up with them. But then I'm realizing, wait a minute, there's millions? How is this possible? Hold on. Wait a minute. And then I realized, oh wait, they're individual developers. Okay, maybe I'll try that. I like being creative. And in a sense, I wish I would have kept doing it. And I obviously, I could pick it back up. But if I were to pick it back up, where do you guys, any tips for that?
Take it slow.
Good question.
Take it slow.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say take it slow. I would say that be focused on one skill. So find one that you want to do. Get extremely good at that, and don't allow yourself to get shiny object syndrome and start going after all the other skills like UI, modeling, whatever you want to take up next. Start with one skill that you think you'd be best at and that you'd enjoy somewhat, and that you think you could get some results from to stay motivated and have goals. And when you do that, I think it's a really good way to start. I think a lot of people start like I sure know that when I started getting serious about it, I was trying to take on every skill in the world and learn them all at once, and it was way too much. So stay focused on one.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. I had an interesting question. This might be a little abstract, but what would happen if or what do you think would happen if content creators were kind of cut off of the Roblox community? Like, what do you think would happen?
That's interesting.
I think a lot of the popularity would go down because people watch Creekcraft and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I haven't played Roblox in 30 minutes. I'm gonna go play it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So, I think, or the watch, they just watch these Roblox YouTubers, and like, I'm not gonna say it gives them a reminder to play Roblox, but it gives them like motivation to play that game, or it gives them motivation to do something like that. So,
Yeah. That's a good point. I think that it's really reflected when you see the difference between a game that has a lot of YouTubers playing it and a game that does not have a lot of YouTubers playing it. It gives
Exactly.
a reason to play that game. It gives a motivation. It gives a purpose to the community. It gives leaders to that game. And when you look at this on the macro scale of Roblox as a whole, you see that that same dynamic is very key. The content creators give purpose to the platform. They give that drive to the players to go play, as you said. And they create like events that happen. They create strategies for playing in the games, and it's very important that content creators are on the platform. So if they weren't on, I think Roblox could still have players, but it wouldn't be nearly as big, and it wouldn't feel nearly as important and purposeful to play in a way.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that we're seeing right now in the development community, because before we were kind of in the dark with content. We would have, okay, there was Alvin Blocks, there was the Dev King, there were other people like iNewbie, but there was no one really, there weren't that really that many people out there to look up to as dev content creators. So now what we're seeing is there's a lot of them coming out, and now we're starting to get some of that same purpose and drive in the development community that wasn't there before. You
yeah.
you see channels like Scruff, you see Rodev, you see a whole bunch of other creators popping up. You see D Happy, you see me even, and a whole bunch of other creators popping it off, and it's really making the development community grow a lot more, and it's really making the just there be more purpose to being a developer, and that same kind of dynamic is coming to the dev community. So it's really interesting, and I think it shows like what would happen if it happened to Roblox. Well, you'd see like before there was not as much passion, there's not as much purpose. Now there's like people doing videos on challenges and people doing videos on making a game in 24 hours, and now a lot of people are motivated to go in studio and do that themselves. So we're seeing that dynamic flip, and it's getting some of that energy that is needed for Roblox.
For sure.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think to add on to that, I think there's different kinds of Roblox YouTubers now. I think that's obvious, but I think it were to impact, like if there were certain categories of Roblox YouTubers to disappear, I think like Creecraft, that type of Roblox YouTuber, I think that they would like Roblox would completely like not completely, but I think like you said, it would lose a lot of popularity. Now then, I'm not going to call it arcade YouTubers, but it's kind of like um I don't know what to call it. There's like people like GamerMate. I'm sure you've heard of him, right?
Definitely.
GamerMate, where he does like little videos where I script your funny ideas, or I think I'm gonna not gonna. I think that's what I think of arcade kind of YouTubers, where they're like doing short videos of fun things, and then there's people like
it's less niche driven almost, if you want to say that.
yeah,
Does that
and
make
there's
sense?
people
Yeah.
Row Builder, or not so much Row Builder. Row Builder is more of like look. So GamerMate is having more. I feel like having fun with the development when it comes to his videos, and there's Row Builder, which are kind of showing off the development, and there's people like I don't know, I forgot his name. There's people that do tutorials and stuff. So I think there's a lot of different kinds of Roblox YouTubers, and
Yeah,
I think that it would differ.
For
it would
sure.
for sure.
I think in the sense of how Smarty explained it, I think content creators are definitely part of the backbone of Roblox.
Absolutely.
Along with developers being the main thing, because without them, it wouldn't be a thing. So
Yeah.
I think they definitely come hand in hand to create this perfect Unity almost, but
They do.
definitely could have some bugs fixed, if you want to use that word. But
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would add on to that because I think that there has been this thing that people have talked about in the community where they're very very necessary for each other, but there's
Mhm.
also a bit of a disconnect at the same time where content creators and developers don't really know how to communicate and work together so well. I think that's become a little bit better in recent years,
yeah,
but still there's problems with it, and I think that people like Cole, who are making platforms like Social Seed and even like groups like Dev Create, which I'm working on, kind of just are working to bridge the gap. Are and that's still an issue. It's really interesting how there can be such a bond between content creators and developers, but also such a disconnect. It's really weird.
There is. I totally agree.
exactly.
Like, for example, I was in a development group. They were making a tower defense game. It was going really good. The development, it was really well scripted. The UI was amazing. It it was really well put together. But the leader or manager, CEO, whatever you want to call it, ghosted everybody for like a week.
Uh,
Everybody went nuts. Development went nuts. Someone put like fog all over the map,
oh man.
like you couldn't see.
Sabotage.
Everybody was waiting
Ah.
on payment. I was waiting on a 8,000 Robux payment. Now
Oh my.
that can be a lot, but it was for one map. It was a really big map. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I was waiting on the payment. Everybody's waiting for like he owed everybody like 15,000 Robux.
Oh dang.
And everybody was getting tired, and he's like finally admitted, I got exams, I can't do this. Everybody just leave if
Yeah,
you want. And so it's like a
dude.
lot of, like you were saying, a lot of the communication is just missing.
Yeah,
Whether
Yeah.
that's communication with developers, such as a community, like your channel or your server, or row builder server, or just Roblox development servers on Discord, or just communication within development teams or development groups.
For sure. Yeah. There's a lot of different miscommunications. So it's weird how that all it still works out in many ways, but there's a lot of issues, and it can happen in projects too. Like what you said, I've found that situation a lot. It's really weird when like it seems like the most common things that come up from people is, and sometimes it's true, sometimes they might be just making a fake excuse, I don't know. But like sometimes people their computer will break. Like I don't know why
Mhm.
that happens so much, but their computer breaks, or they have exams, or they have some sort of other thing, and it seems like a lot of the time, I don't know if that's even true, but people just have things that come up, and they're not able to stay on the ball all the time on a lot of things. It can make it hard communicating and managing projects. Sure.
I think that's understandable. Now it can be very annoying, and it can also just like break down a development group, and just the development group goes loose and stuff. But it's another thing when they're actually honest with it. That's where the communication it needs to be. When they're
Hmm.
honest about it and say it right away when they find out that they have a bunch of exams and can't do it. I think that's still has the communication. I'd
Yeah,
rather that than have no communication. But okay,
for
that
sure.
didn't make
totally.
sense. But
I have a
I think
very
Well,
continue. Continue.
hmm
I think
oh
someone
no, you
asked a question in the chat. Should I work on a game a little bit, then update it a bit, or should I work on a game a little bit, then update it bit by bit, or make little games and improve that way? So I think what he means is make uh, work on a big game, work on it little bits at a time, or make little games and work on it a lot. I think that's what he's saying.
that's a good question. I would say personally to start on the little games because the smaller games are going to be a lot easier to finish. Even if you're working bit by bit on a large project, it can be really hard to actually finish that large project when you start. I
Right.
talk about this a lot. Like, start with those smaller, simpler games. Try to, as you improve, try to earn Robux off of some of them, and then you'll have funds and you'll have experience and you'll have connections to make those larger projects later.
I agree. I think
Yeah.
I think working on when it comes to learning, I think you need to do little bits along the way, little games.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like getting chunks of, uh, I guess, chunks of knowledge at a time because you
Definitely.
learn you get a chunk of knowledge or learn a little bit each game you make.
Mhm.
So then once you actually ready to make a big game, you have all the knowledge and the experience, or not experience, but you have everything you need to start it.
Definitely.
Kind of like what you were saying. I think
I
someone also said, "What's the best category for a game?"
Mm,
I don't
that's a
think
good question.
that's. I don't think there really is a best category for a game.
Yeah, if they mean genre, well, I would say there is, actually. I would say there is. It depends on your goals, though. So, most people, their goals are either make a fun game, I don't want money, or second of all, make money, and I don't necessarily care if I don't necessarily care as much about the game. I mean, it's a bit of a
Hmm.
spectrum, obviously. No one's fully on either one of those. But if you want to
Right.
make a game for the enjoyment of making a game, make whatever game you would like to make for sure. Absolutely. But if you want to do the second option and you also want to, it could also be that you want to actually make sure that you release a game, not just that you want money. But
Right.
making a simulator is probably going to be your best bet because simulators are a game that a lot of people have made. And if you're going to work with other developers, they're already going to have experience in that. And when you try to veer off of that thing that people have experience in, you're going to find that it's a lot harder to have people work on those more unique projects and finish those more unique projects. There's also not as many tutorials on unique ideas. So, yeah, it depends on your goals, and I would say
Right.
simulators are the best if you're trying to make money or
I think that's
trying
a
to
great.
do that. Yeah.
I think that's a great example and answer. I think.
Cool. Would you thank you. Would you have anything to add on that though? Because I know you probably have like your own take. I'm very pragmatic about mine, but
I think.
Yeah.
I think Roblox categories or genres vary. Like right now, it's kind of fading a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but blade ball is a big thing. It's not. I
Mm.
wouldn't consider that a simulator. I guess I don't know. Then it goes through. I mean, a simulator. Yeah, I agree with you. It's all. I feel like it's always just never gonna die down. But for a
Mm-hmm.
while back there in like 2021, 2022, cafe games were quite a bit where you get to make the food, you get to make the drinks and stuff. Interaction, like
Mm.
you got to interact and stuff. I think that went on for a little bit, like,
Mm-hmm.
but and then there's games like Blade Ball or um, what's the one big anime game based off One Piece? Can't think what it's called. But there's big games where they kind of have a similar idea, and then they gain a lot of um, visits, they gain a lot of attention, and then they slow down. Like Doors, that was really big for a while. Now it's slowing down quite a bit.
yeah, seems to be dead
It's
ish.
not dead,
Mm.
but
Maybe to me it is because I don't,
it had
it's the
like
algorithms.
a million active players constantly. Now it has like a couple thousand or a
Yeah.
couple 100,000. So I think it kind of varies. I think, but I do
Mhm.
think the simulator game is always on top.
Yeah, for most devs, yeah. If you're a studio, by all means do make those more unique projects and become successful. But I'm saying like if you're a smaller dev and you're trying to make money or have something that you can release with a team, definitely go for simulators,
Yeah.
hands down. At least at first.
Simulators are super easy because most of them are low poly, and low poly is a little more easier to model
Yeah.
or script model, whatever you want to say, UI than a uh, than like a realistic game.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I would have expected that simulators would be the most profitable in there because
They
there's a
are,
lot of room for game passes and everything.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of ways to. Because if you make like a game pass in a game, but it wouldn't really benefit you all that much to not have it or to have it, then there's not much of a point in buying it. So if you can make a game where it's a lot more beneficial to have it, then of course, it's more profitable. But and you have a lot of younger people playing those too. So
Right.
we have a question. What are the chances for a small horror game to suddenly make it big? And they said, I was very bored and made a game called The Country Corn Maze.
I would say don't rely on chance. If you want something to go big, force it to go big. That's what I've found.
I agree with
I agree
different
too.
things.
You can't just go big. That's how developers burn out so quick within months, or if not even weeks. They just like post couple games, and it's like nothing happens because they're
Nothing.
not building any.
Yeah.
They're not building a community. They're not building. Like the only people they've told are probably their friends. But when you're in that stage of very early starting out, have free models, wouldn't count on chance whatsoever. I would never count on chance, like you said. But
Yeah, I definitely agree because this is pretty similar to the point that we made on consistency earlier with our channels. Because without it, like, you can't just kind of, yeah, like I kind of did that and I waited, and then eventually a video got 90,000 views, so that was good. And I had under 1,000 subscribers, so eventually it hit 90,000. But you really can't wait for something to just happen, and that goes with a lot of things in life, right? Like, you have to make it happen, because if you don't, you just sit there and wait. And like your daily news said, that's a very easy way to get burnt out. But yeah, no, definitely don't wait. Make it happen. Although I'm not a developer, that correlates with my channel. Just make it happen.
I would agree absolutely, because I think that anyone who's out there waiting for a chance for anything to happen in life, it's just not going to happen. It never happens. And most people, they sit around waiting for things to happen in anything.
The world
and
doesn't wait
nothing
for
happens.
people.
Exactly, yeah. So don't wait for things. Just force them to happen. Force it to happen now. And when you apply enough force to something, it can definitely start to work.
Exactly. I would like to circle back to that content creator and developer thing. I know we already touched on it quite a bit, but how do you think that content creators and developers could kind of come together and partner to make a better place? How can we better the relationship? Or do you think what we have now is fine?
Well, that's a good question. I would say that it is difficult to say because, well, I guess they're kind of separate camps. You have developers in their own bubble talking about development and technical things. And I also do think a lot of developers get bogged down in a lot of that instead of the bigger of making good games. But there's also, that's aside the point. But also there is the content creation bubble, which is entirely different. They're focused on blowing up on algorithms and being on YouTube, etc. So they're kind of in different camps completely. And what there needs to be often is something in the middle. And we're seeing a lot of that coming out. So we have on X, there are a lot of different people coming out and being like, okay, let's make a place where content creators and developers can work together. So, for example, there's the Social Seed by Cole. Cole is a very large time developer, and I'm going to be talking to him soon on my podcast, actually.
Be back in 1 minute.
Cool. He made this website called Social Seed where you can, work with influencers and hire them basically to create a video on your game. And things like this bridge the gap because, a lot of the time it can be hard for content creators and developers to communicate. They're completely different camps, as I said. So putting something in the middle, a platform, for example, like what's happening right now with Social Seed, etc., putting something in the middle allows for that connection to happen through numbers, money, ROBUX, the language that both people on both sides speak. And I think that really allows them to bridge the gap. But I do think there can be more solutions, more relationship based, more connection based, that would be a lot better. Like if there were actually networking servers that were really good for this. So yeah, it's a really interesting situation.
I think so too. We got a question. Any tips on animating? I don't think we can answer that, can we?
Yeah, I'm not really an animator, but I would say try messing around with the default studio animation. Just make things for fun. I've
Hmm.
tried it. It's pretty fun. Just make things that you want to make and watch a video on the basics. It's pretty simple to get started animating. But yeah.
Like what you just said about watch videos, I think a lot of people start with YouTube and watching videos. Do you think that's? I think that's a good way to start. I don't know. What do
hmm
you think about that? I think watching videos is to learn. I think that's good. But what do you
Yeah,
think about?
that's a good question because I think that a lot of people get stuck on this. They think, oh, do I watch videos? Do I go to the documentation? Do I go to the dev forum? What do I do? And what I would say as a whole is to focus on what your learning style is. You probably heard a lot of people learn auditorially, a lot of
Hmm.
people learn kinesthetically, a lot of people learn visually, and determine which one of those you are, and then go based on that. If you're auditory, by all means, try to find like a podcast or try to listen to a video. If you're visual, definitely watch video tutorials.
Hmm.
If you are more, if you find that you learn better from reading, well, read the documentation, read the dev forum. But I think for
Yeah.
most people, videos tend to be best. But a lot of the time, people are more hands-on, and I think that something that's lacking is the tutor section of things. So having a tutor is probably another option that a lot of people don't really consider. You can find one, but you kind of have to go out there on your own and find somebody to tutor you. There are some
Hmm.
people in the dev content creation space I know who are starting to offer that service. I may even do it because a lot of people ask, "Hey, can I pay you to call me and do some tutoring?" And yeah, so that's probably an option that's coming up more soon. But
Yeah.
yeah, so it's interesting,
I
the
think I'm
different ways.
excited for. I'm excited to see what goes on with tutoring. I think in the future with YouTubers doing tutoring, because I've also seen people do that.
hmm
Now, I think there's different kinds of tutoring. I think it's amazing as if like a YouTuber such as RoBuilder or you or CodePro or
Yeah.
GamerMate, whoever started doing paid tutoring. But I think there's also a lot of bad tutoring. Like,
hmm
if you know what OutSchool is,
hmm
that's a place where you can pay teachers to teach you, kind of like tutoring. I
hmm
don't think you should go to places like that for tutoring because
Really?
you have no idea what they are. Um, and then I think there's a lot of places that you don't want to get tutoring from. Like if there's,
hmm
I haven't really heard anything like websites or companies or something that do Roblox tutoring, but
hmm
I think I do want to see YouTubers starting to do that.
Definitely. That's a good point. And I think that because there are those bad tutoring websites, as you said, it's really much more important that prominent people in the community, especially dev content creators who have that experience teaching on camera already, take
Hmm.
on that role of being the tutors. And right now, I mean, what you can do, we were talking about networking earlier, you can use that to find a tutor, and if you're friends with them, they may even teach you for free. Most people don't want to do that and give value to people. But
Yeah.
if you can do that, you can probably get a tutor for free if you work hard at finding somebody who's willing to do it, if that's your learning style, which many, many people, especially people who have like ADHD or something like that, and they need that person to help them directly. And there's nothing wrong with any kind of learning style. It just depends on the type of person you are. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to more creators doing that tutoring thing. I think with Dev Create, I keep mentioning it, but it's like very key because it is a space for development content creators to
Right.
network. It's going to be where a lot of new dev content creators grow, start to become larger as creators start to start their channels and uh, start to really take off. Like we've had several people start to blow up because of connections in Dev Create, and it's only getting started. So I think the dev content creation space is getting a lot larger. It's
Hmm.
very exciting, and I think there's gonna be a lot more ways for people to learn soon.
I
So
agree.
you're also joining this space. So once you're a bit bigger, you can join as well. So yeah.
Yeah. I think I hope that it gets a little better. I hope I don't know if you have any do you have any tips on starting Roblox development channel?
I would definitely take that. And I've been
Mhm.
back for a while.
Oh, cool.
Right.
Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh yeah,
Like, do you have any big pointers on that for anybody like me or anybody that's watching?
definitely. So if you're starting a development channel, it is a bit different, obviously, than starting a normal channel for gameplay, etc.
For
Right?
sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you're starting a dev channel, you first not you can't just be somebody who goes on, okay, today we're playing Brookhaven. Anyone can start a gameplay channel. So it's a little bit different. And you have to have a development skill or multiple development skills and some experience and the ability to teach or entertain or whatever you want to do as well. So when you start a dev content channel, it is key that you have that first. So it is a bit harder to start if you haven't, especially if you haven't had development experience before. You need to build some of that first.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, well, actually, a lot of people do document their journey of learning, so you can start learning and start recording that, use that as content. But you have to have that to be a developer, basically, to start. And from there, you can really start to do two main types of content. There is tutorials,
Mm-hmm.
education, and there is entertainment. The thing about tutorials and education is they can be very good, especially for a foundation. You're going to get views from search and things like that, which can be
Mm-hmm.
a lot easier than trying to get it from the algorithm, especially when you start.
Evergreen
So,
content. Yep.
yeah, absolutely evergreen content. But there's a certain point where evergreen content and search content is not enough. So,
Yes. Very true.
the best type of content for a dev channel is actually entertainment, surprisingly. If
Really?
you've seen like the Dev King
Such as like
and
GamerMate or Def King?
yeah, Dev King, GamerMate, RoDev, and even RoBuilder to a large extent, all are entertainment. So you would think that it would be okay. I'm going to make tutorials on Roblox Studio, but actually the
Mm-hmm.
best thing is and making those entertaining videos like challenges and things like that. And even mine could be considered entertainment in a way where it's like a lot of it's motivation, a lot of it's
Mm-hmm.
interesting stories and things like that. So any the more that it is entertainment, the more that of a large audience you can get in dev content. So start making that entertainment content as soon as possible if you really want to get into it, and you'll see your views go up a lot more than if you just make tutorials. And I
Mm-hmm.
know that your daily news, you make like speed builds and stuff. I would say that speed builds are good, but also incorporating your voice, your personality, things like that. If you
Mm-hmm.
can do that, you're going to see your channel skyrocket a lot more because that's what people want to see. And
Right.
that's what pulls in the largest audience. If you're only doing like education or speed builds or something like that, it's more so going to appeal to the dev audience, which is a lot smaller. And when you start to appeal to a larger player base with challenges and things like that, you can get a lot more viewers, and you can even, you know, convert those players into developers, and they
Mm-hmm.
will always thank you for that. So I've done that with a lot of my videos. People have become developers just because of my videos, and that makes really, really strong fans. So yeah, that's
That's
what I would say.
actually has happened to me. Started listening to your podcast and I'm like, gave me so much motivation. So thank
Oh,
you.
really? Amazing. Amazing. My podcast specifically, or the
Your po-
videos, or
your podcast videos. I actually, um, I was at my grandma's house
uh-huh.
and I turn on her TV, watch whatever, and I go on YouTube and look up
Oh, wow.
Roblox developer. Um, and I see I don't know what video it was of yours, but you were talking about how to start a game or something like that. It was something like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like what I needed. So
Wow. Wait,
that was like
which one? That's
I don't
really
know.
cool.
It was I don't
Was it
remember.
was it why most Roblox devs quit, or was it don't make a Roblox game without watching this first? Was it one of those?
No, I think it was I don't know. It was
Much earlier?
like a year and a half ago or 2 years
Oh.
back when you were a little smaller.
Uh-huh. Oh
I
wow,
think
that's even better.
I think it was the best way to learn building, or no, it was the secret to getting tons of commissions on
Oh,
Roblox.
I see.
That was
Amazing.
so. I do
And
credit you for that.
amazing, amazing. That's crazy. So you just found it randomly at your
Mm-hmm.
grandma's. That's
Yep, my
fascinating.
grandma's.
Cool. So, did you apply that video?
I did. I get commissions daily, GFX commissions.
Amazing.
I'm starting to make money off of it, so I put my full credit to that. So
Well, you did the work, remember that. But that's awesome. So, the secret to getting tons of commissions on Roblox, earn Robux, I guess if anyone watching wants to make money or get commissions, you heard it from your daily news. It works. He's getting commissions daily. So yeah.
I say it myself too. It works. There you go.
I
What
want to start
specifically in that video helped
GFX.
most?
I think
Sorry.
I don't personally. I think I don't remember. It was quite a long ago that I started listening. I think I just have put it into my normal commissions. Like I'm using it so much that I don't really remember what it was. If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
But I remember watching that like 1 or 2 times, or
Mhm.
3 times. Oh, and I also watched the easiest beginner guide to scripting. That was an
Oh
amazing
wow.
video too.
Thank you.
So
Amazing. Well,
I
that's inspiring
not
for
a scripter
me.
whatsoever, but
Mhm. Well, that's inspiring for me too. That's really cool.
I definitely agree. I've had some moments like that where, like, just the other day actually, I went to this very very small channel based off of Southwest Florida as well, and I look at their videos. I'm like, wow, these are actually, you only have 20 subscribers, and
Mhm.
this video is actually decent. And so I said that. Maybe about a day later, I got a text back from him, and he was telling me that I was actually the person that inspired him several months ago to start a channel, and
Oh
eventually he
really?
took action on it. And not that I was telling anybody how to do stuff, but just me. So I know how you feel. It's fulfilling.
Yeah. It's amazing because like, I don't. You make videos, but you don't see the people watching them. So it's really
yeah.
inspiring when you hear somebody who actually used it or was inspired from it. And yeah.
A question for your daily news. I think Obsidian asked how much Robux per commission. I think.
I depends on what it is. A if it is, let's say it's a portrait, I would do, depending on what it is. I guess if you really don't want much in it, you just want your avatar, 300 Robux, 250. I try to stay cheap so I can stay consistent and constantly get them.
Mhm.
But if it's like a full-on game icon with like 5 thumbnails, it'll probably about 5,000 Robux.
Okay.
Mm.
I take a long time on my commissions, like a couple hours. I try to, not at a time. That's too much, but um, I do value my commissions. But I like to stay cheap, but put the quality in it. So I constantly get the commissions. I think I'm racking up about. Here, let me check my group income. Okay, so I'm getting 15,000 Robux per week,
Amazing.
average. I think
Good.
my lowest was last week. Within the last couple months, it was like 7,000 Robux, and then so
Mhm.
I'm starting. I really miss going on projects. I like commissions because I'm making money off of it, but
Yeah.
I'd rather work on a project if that makes any sense. But
Yeah, I get that for sure. I was the same. That's why I quit commissions because I was like, I'm done with this. I want to work on projects and I don't want to work for anyone else.
mhm.
So yeah. I would recommend this video that I sent in our Discord chat to you. It's how to get unlimited commissions on Roblox because it kind of implements some things that actually may help you because you have like, you get those and you said you take like 300 Robux or something, but like
It depends on what
this,
mhm.
yeah, for sure. This will really help you with amping that up though. So like
Right?
going from that amount to a much higher amount and also amping up the amount of requests you get, the amount of attention you get in the community. Really good stuff because it also applies like some business insights too. So yeah,
Right.
sure.
I think that is all the time we have for today. I think
All right.
I got something I gotta get to, but thank you so much for coming out and doing our podcast with us. Thank you, Way Too Random, for live streaming.
Yes, sir.
But thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Problem. Thank you for having me on.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Is it done?
Yep.
Let's stop it.
Is it? All right.
Cool. That was fun.
All right.
Yeah, it
Thank you.
was.
I wasn't that prepared for it, but